Hi everyone, recently I did a video on the Xiaomi 13 in daytime performance when it comes to the camera, and I really love what they are doing with daytime photography, and thank you also for blowing up that video. Link in the description if you haven't seen it yet. But when it comes to low light, we might be talking about a really different story, and we're gonna pit it against someone that we know is really good at low light. It's the Vivo X90 Pro. Let's find out which of these perform better, but I will have to say straight from the get-go, Xiaomi needs to update this phone for low light photography. Let's dive into the video. Now before we start showcasing the difference in terms of result, let's talk about the camera specifications, because there is of course a difference here. The main sensor, however, is that same 1-inch sensor size, however it does have a f1.8 compared to a 1.9 on the Xiaomi, and of course the resolution is 50.3 megapixels. The telephoto is a 50 megapixel sensor as well, with a 1.6 aperture and 50 millimeters, allowing for a 2x zoom. The sensor size is a 1/2 inch sensor. When it comes to the ultra wide, we are talking about a 12 megapixel resolution and an f-stop of 2.0 with 108 degrees field of view or 16 millimeters. When it comes to the Xiaomi 13 Pro, it comes with a 50.3 megapixel with a 1.9 aperture compared to a 1.8. It's of course a 1-inch sensor as well, just like the Vivo. It's a 50 megapixel telephoto lens with a 2.0 aperture and it's 75 millimeters, allowing a 3.2 times zoom. When it comes to that sensor, however, it has movable parts, but you will find more information about the camera focus on the Xiaomi 13 Pro. When it comes to the ultra wide, it's a 50 megapixel sensor with a 2.2 aperture and 14 millimeters. So let's discuss my findings so far when it comes to low light photography and the difference in terms of approach. And you're gonna see that as well with the images showcasing the difference between the two, but also some issues for the Xiaomi. The biggest thing you will simply see that is in low light photography, you will get far more detail on the Vivo X90 Pro with way better color accuracy, even more so when we are talking about warmer colors, where on the Xiaomi 13 Pro the light source is all of a sudden cold and pretty white in comparison, which wasn't the scene in front of me at all. Now as stated, Vivo does tend to take a little bit longer to take the shot. Lower shutter speed results in more light getting into the sensor itself, and therefore you get the result we are seeing here. When you combine that with computational photography that a lot of phones do to get their results, especially in tricky situations, you will see this difference. However, with Xiaomi it is almost like it doesn't seem like it recognizes it's a low light shot, even though I have it at night mode. The shot is almost as fast as during the daytime, and it shows. Let's for instance look at this shot and the data of the shot itself. By the way, it looks amazing on this shot when it comes to the Vivo, where the Xiaomi is quite contrasty, although I will say that the Vivo might be a little bit too bright. First of all, we will notice the difference in f-stop. Seeing how they are the same sensor, the benefit is here for Vivo, with that larger f-stop allowing more light to get to the sensor itself. But then we get to exposure, for instance. It's shorter on the Xiaomi, which is by the way the data on the right side. And then we go to ISO. As a result of not getting as much as light in, I assume that therefore it has a higher ISO, which would result in more grain. Now, while it doesn't reveal a lot, it is consistent in terms of difference between the two, with the difference being that shutter speed and ISO. The shutter speed being so fast on the Xiaomi hurts it in low light, even though in some situations it's a benefit by looking more natural. And while as stated, the Vivo without a doubt does a better job, in some cases, just a little bit, it can be a little bit too bright for the scene itself, and while with the Xiaomi of course it's too dark, it does allow for a different kind of mood to be set. However, because of the approach from Vivo, you can easily turn down the brightness, where with the Xiaomi, turning it up would hurt the shot. Either way, here's some more shots to showcase, also using the ultra wide and so on to showcase really the difference between the sensors as well. Again, I will say that the Vivo simply handles the situation better, with better dynamic range, more light to be captured, and overall because of that longer shutter speed and understanding the scene better, Vivo definitely wins in low light. Now, right now, the Xiaomi 13 Pro, I will say, definitely isn't good in low light photography. I'm gonna even add something more. Apart from the colors itself being off, it is actually beaten by the Mi 11 Ultra in low light as well. Especially when it comes to set colors. Now, this is for the main camera. The ultra wide is a little bit of a different story depending on how you look at ultra wide. And I would say the same thing when it comes to the Vivo X90 Pro. In ultra wide, the Xiaomi tends to have less issues with the sky and of course noise. But overall, I will say that when it comes to the main sensor itself, the Mi 11 Ultra also tends to beat the Xiaomi 13 Pro. So here are some examples comparing it quickly with the Mi 11 Ultra. But as I always say, phones will come with updates. And I'm sure that Xiaomi will deliver an update to make this actually work better and have that possibility. Because while it's rapid in taking the image, it simply sacrifices in what you get for it. Anyway, here's some images comparing the Mi 11 Ultra versus the Xiaomi 13 Pro. Now, when it comes to low light and me saying it's being beaten by the Mi 11 Ultra, I'm mainly discussing here the amount of things that you can see in the shot itself. The images are brighter, clearer, you can play around with it more if you want to edit the shots and so on. And also the colors are more accurate when it comes to having those warm tones. Where on the Xiaomi 13 Pro, those warm tones aren't very warm, especially in some shots where it simply is white, cool, where it shouldn't be. However, with that being said, with reflections and especially when it's red, definitely here the Xiaomi 13 Pro wins. And also when it comes to the lens glare, the Xiaomi 13 Pro wins as well. It is simply better at handling that. Also, the Mi 11 sometimes can be blown out. It's just a fraction, but not too much. And honestly, I think it says more about the Mi 11 Ultra as well, holding up quite well when it comes to photography. The Mi 11 Ultra is still a solid deal, but we're gonna make a separate video on that as well. Hopefully though, we do get an Android update for it, because right now it's still stuck on Android 12 for me. So overall, I will say that the Xiaomi 13 Pro in daytime right now is probably my favorite when it comes to photography. It still needs a little bit of work with contrast, which we also see back in these low light photography shots. But when it comes to low light photography, I simply have to say that Xiaomi definitely needs to upgrade this phone fast for that one. Because low light photography right now, as it is right now, simply isn't on par with the phone you are getting. And again, I know that they will deliver the update, but right now we don't have it. So therefore, I give you the information how it is currently performing. I will also give you, however, an update on how it's performing later on, when updates are achieved for the 13 Pro, and the same goes for every phone that I'm trying, especially flagships. So we're gonna find out how it works in several months, or maybe heck, weeks we can discuss as well, but we're gonna find out how it performs later on, especially during low light photography, because again, daytime, the only really gripe that I have with it, or thing where I feel like it needs an update, is the contrast. Anyway, this was my quick video on low light photography on the Xiaomi 13 Pro, comparing it of course quickly to the Vivo X90 Pro. Vivo being of course the king in low light photography. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this short video, and if you did, don't forget to subscribe, like, and if you haven't checked out the daytime photography, which is amazing, on the Xiaomi 13 Pro, link in the description. Anyway, have a good one and talk to you guys in the next